Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson. I live in Minnesota with my husband and our three kids, Sophie, Soren, and Svea. Sophie is 5.5, Soren is 3.5, and Svea is almost 5 months old. I love posting about all things motherhood, homemaking, and also homeschooling, which is the topic of today's video. So today I just wanted to sit down and share with you our curriculum picks for our kindergartner, Sophie, for the year 2023 to 2024. Now, it's so crazy to be saying kindergarten for my 5-year-old, who in my mind is always like a precious little 3-year-old or something. But she is growing up before our eyes, and it has already been so much fun homeschooling her. We are not new to homeschooling her. We have actually homeschooled for a couple years now because Sophie did preschool homeschool work the year that she turned 3, and then preschool for a second year, the school year that she turned 4. And then this past year she has done pre-kindergarten work primarily. But you will notice that some things are a continuation from this past school year moving forward into this new school year, because some of it is kindergarten work, but we'll get into that. I am so excited to do official kindergarten with Sophie, to officially call her a kindergartner. And yeah, let's jump in and I'll share with you what we have picked for her this year. I feel like I should start with a disclaimer. This is how life looks right now. This is our current season. This is my current plan. Of course, everything can be tweaked and changed and might have to be altered over time and as the school year goes on. So know that this is not all written in stone, but this is what is written in my spreadsheet that I'm excited about and that I have plans to either purchase or have purchased, and what things we're moving forward on. So that's just my little disclaimer. Homeschool, one of the many wonderful things about it is the fact that it can be tweaked and altered throughout any given year. Something else I wanted to note is, while we do heavily use the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, I am a former elementary school teacher. I love picking and choosing across different curriculums and pulling different activities, whether from my own teaching background or just new things that I have discovered or heard about or researched on my own. So we do use a lot of the Good and the Beautiful, but you'll also see me pulling in lots of other options and ideas and activities. All right, we'll start with Sophie's math picks. This year we're going to be continuing with the Good and the Beautiful's Level K math. That is something that we started last school year, and we're just taking our time getting through it to really make sure we have all the concepts down. I'm not in a hurry to rush her past that kindergarten level of math, so I'm excited to just continue on with it. Their math lessons are beautiful and really engaging for the kids. I also do math lessons in the preschool book with my son Soren, so that's why I said the kids. But basically, Sophie has really enjoyed the math Level K from the Good and the Beautiful, and we're looking forward to just continuing on with that. Something new that I'm going to try this year based on a friend's recommendation is called Addition Facts That Stick. Right now, this age that Sophie is at, and also Soren, our 3.5-year-old, they are just sponges for information and wanting to memorize and learn so much. So we really need to capitalize on that in these younger years. I just don't personally know yet if we are going to jump in at the start of the school year with Addition Facts That Stick or kind of ease into it as the school year goes on. But that's definitely on the list here. A couple supplemental math items are mathematical reasoning beginning 2. There are many different levels of mathematical reasoning. We've especially loved it for our son, Soren. He loved his math workbook. It actually starts with a workbook that's labeled for age 3, and it's very developmentally appropriate and so wonderful in terms of being challenging but also being engaging. So I love having mathematical reasoning workbooks as an extra supplemental material. We have something called a Rec and Rack and other math manipulatives that I am planning on using throughout this school year, especially in terms of learning to show numbers from 1 to 20 pretty quickly on. It's not really an abacus. I can insert a picture and a link so you can look into it yourself, but we've loved working with it in the past, so I want to continue doing some more tactile activities for math for Sophie. We also have a really cute math game called Tiny Dot. It's something like 16 games in one, and it really works well with the concept of subitizing, which is, you know, being able to flash a certain number of figures or dots at the child, and they're able to really quickly kind of make sense of how many there are in their brain. and I really love that tiny dot math game. If you see me glancing down here, it's because I have my spreadsheet on my laptop open right here. I'm a former Title I teacher, which involved a lot of small group math and reading interventions. So I still have some Title I games left over from my teaching years, and I love using those with kids too, with my own children, and I look forward to using some supplemental Title I activities with Sophie this year. All right, let's get into language arts and reading. First of all, we are going to be doing continued work with readers. We have decodable readers that I've researched extensively. We have, let's see, 2 main sets that I really got into this past year with Sophie, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with those decodable readers. The first brand or company we bought our decodable readers from is called Reading for All Learners. Oh boy, Reading for All Learners, and it is the IC Sam books, if you've heard of those. They're pretty simple looking, but they are funny and entertaining for the kids to listen to and to read. We also have a brand called Half Pint books, which after researching a lot, I really found to be a good option, and we have really loved those over time as well. So Half Pint books and the Reading for All Learners. Something else we're carrying over a little bit from last year is our Good and the Beautiful Level K Language Arts course book, and we've really enjoyed it so far. We didn't start it until later on in the school year last year, and so we'll just continue on because it's level K and that's where we're at right now, and we've really enjoyed it. It comes with some booster cards, which are just like practice cards for more decodable words and things like that, and there are also the Good and the Beautiful brand readers that we can incorporate into our work this year as well. Something else I always love using is Sunlight Curriculum books. The Sunlight Curriculum brand is a pretty literature-based or book-based homeschool curriculum company, and I love it so much because they have a lot of good book recommendations. I just don't buy the whole pack for every single year for my children because it gets really pricey and I might not want all of the books, and so I go through their book list every year and I just make sure I pick out ones that I think will be really useful to infuse into our own homeschool levels, and then I go over to Better World Books, which is a great place to buy used books. Make sure you check out that website if you are in the market for buying a bunch of used books to start off your homeschool year. So yeah, I will be using a lot of Sunlight books. Some are leftovers from our past years, but I will also be purchasing several new books for Sophie's kindergarten level this year. All right, I had to get a new camera battery, but something else I'm looking forward to trying this year is called A Reason for Handwriting. We'll be doing level A, and I love how it has some scripture verses for Sophie to practice. It's basically really good copy work practice, and I think it'll be really fun for her. She loves beautiful things and copying so much. She's always trying to copy or label things herself. So I know that doing A Reason for Handwriting will be really beneficial for us, and it has short daily lessons. Something else I want to include as part of our daily work, if not pretty frequently throughout the week, is called Handwriting Without Tears or Learning Without Tears. We have been really enjoying it for both of the kids, the older kids, this summer. I love how they do a lot of tactile letter building with these big wooden pieces, and then they move to a chalkboard to practice writing it that way, and then they move finally to paper and pencil. So I just wanted to make sure we really have a good foundation in handwriting, so we've been doing that this summer, and I will be continuing our Handwriting Without Tears into the school year. Another really great supplemental activity that I love having on hand and that I used as a student teacher and a teacher and now in our homeschool years is called Systematic Sequential Phonics. It's a book full of short little phonics lessons that involve moving letters around to form new words, and it's really fun. It's very simple for you as the teacher to use, and I just love having it as another option to work on some phonics skills. A couple other supplemental things for language arts this year include some junior learning brand CVC dominoes, which I thought looked so fun, and so I picked those up for this year, and we've already been playing with them. So CVC just means consonant, vowel, consonant, so short 3-letter word, dominoes that match with a picture on the other end. Something else I'm using from the website The Measured Mom is called CVC Passages, and it's just this collection of passages for short 3-letter words that I think I purchased it when I was on a sale, and I just am looking forward to using it as a supplemental activity in terms of decoding and reading with Sophie this year. A subject I don't want to leave out this year is logic, and I know that's more of a classical education term, and I'm not 100% doing classical based education in my homeschool time. We'll take it 1 year at a time and infuse what we really think we want to incorporate each year. Basically, I want to include more critical thinking and problem solving and logic based activities in our homeschool time. One of those is a logic pack. It's something I bought off of Teachers Pay Teachers. I printed it out, laminated it, and then cut apart the pieces and put little Velcro dots on it to make it even easier for the kids. It comes with like 16 different game boards, and it just involves grids and matching different things. Even if you just have that as part of your logic for your homeschool this year, I think it would make a big difference in terms of some fun critical thinking and problem solving skills. I also want to get something for the kids this year, especially for Sophie, but I have a feeling Soren, who will be 4 this fall, will also want to join in, is called No Stress Chess. It's something you can get on Amazon, and it's just an easier way to teach your children how to play chess, and I would love for our kids to learn how to play chess. I think that's really awesome critical thinking skills once again. So that's included in my list for this school year as a supplemental activity. In terms of the Bible subject for Sophie, we will continue with what we do every year, which is going to CBS, Community Bible Study, and it has wonderful Bible study for the adults, and then downstairs it has a wonderful children's program for the kids. It includes a lot of good Bible lessons and songs and even Bible verse memorization, so that has been a huge blessing to our family in many ways. I highly recommend you check out CBS, and if you can't find that, also look up BSF. BSF is Bible Study Fellowship. They are quite similar, and I would recommend either of them wholeheartedly. Sophie has loved going through a health workbook last year. It was just so fun for her to circle what is safe and unsafe and look for healthy habits and what you should eat that's more healthy. It was just really fun for her. We joked when she was a toddler that she was our safety officer, so I think it makes sense that she enjoys her health book. But we are going to this year, I think, look into a book called Healthy Habits for Healthy Kids, Level K. We enjoyed I think it was called Level 1, Abeka. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I didn't grow up with that curriculum. Abeka health reader book. We did that last year, and now we are doing Healthy Habits for Healthy Kids, I think. So any health book that I can find that I've kind of flipped through, I will probably just include in some health supplemental work this year. We also have Sophie in Irish dance as kind of an extra, well, it is an extracurricular activity and it's hard work, so I'm including that in our health subject. For social studies and history, we are primarily reading tons of books. My husband is a former history teacher. He formerly taught U.S. history to middle schoolers, and he has such a passion for history and just for teaching the subject to his kids and just making it come alive. It is so much fun to watch Bjorn teach history, but also to watch our kids start to enjoy history and to take them to historical locations and museums and battlefields and historic homes. All of the above. So we are just infusing a lot of social studies and history work into our everyday life and also into trips that we go on. There is one thing, however, that I have been interested in. It's called Draw the USA. I do not know if it's too old for us this year, but I'm keeping it on this list in case we want to add it in later in the year. But it is basically a book that walks you through, that teaches you how to draw a map of the United States of America. And this woman who has written these books has them for, I think, Europe and all sorts of other parts of the world. But I thought Draw the USA would be such a fun project for us. Geography is not my strong suit, and I would love to be better at geography. So I thought that's just something really neat that we could incorporate. The subjects of Bible and music and art and health and social studies and history are combined in our family, and I plan on continuing that for quite some time. We also do read-alouds a lot in our family. I love read-alouds. Reading aloud was one of my very favorite things to do as an elementary teacher. We all know books are good for kids, but if you just want to dig a little deeper, there's a book out there called The Read Aloud Family. I will link it below. It's a really good book and it got me all passionate about reading aloud again. So we definitely have our collection of read aloud books all set for this year, and it is going to, spoiler alert, involve a lot of Laura Ingalls Wilder, I think, because I found some awesome activities to include alongside that. If you want to hear more about Laura Ingalls Wilder content, maybe comment below and let me know. I don't want to focus on it for today's video, but there are some really good books out there that you can incorporate or include alongside reading books by Laura Ingalls Wilder, like Little House on the Prairie. So I think that'll be a really fun way for us to kick off our school year. Let's jump into music a little more specifically. This is combined or family learning. We love something called Squilt. Squilt stands for Super Quiet Uninterrupted Listening Time, I think. But we are not members of their ongoing subscription or membership program. I would love to do that maybe when the kids are older. For now, we have purchased the individual unit called Meet the Orchestra, and it is so much fun. It is so much fun. My kids, then when we visited my parents' church, they were pointing out on stage, there was this big orchestra, and they were so excited to point out all of the different instruments. So we already own that unit called Meet the Orchestra, and I plan on continuing with just introducing my kids to classical music, exposing them to really good quality classical music. We also like to do something on Spotify, or listen to something on Spotify called Tell Me Who. It's just basically a catechism that is all songs, and so it's pretty typical catechism answers, but it's put in really catchy song format. So I'm including that in music as well. Another thing that I would love to do this year, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself to do, is to teach my children hymns. But over the years, I definitely plan on and want to prioritize teaching, well, mostly prioritize, not above the Bible, but prioritize teaching hymns to my children, because there are hymns I have learned as a child that still run through my mind today. Their lyrics do, and I just absolutely love that, and I think it's really important. Let's jump back into Bible a little bit, since this is in the family learning category. That's why I only touched on it briefly for Sophie's specific category. But we also have a Truth and Grace memory book that's like a children's catechism. I think it's something like for ages 3 through 9 or 2 through 9, something like that. And it has really good catechism answers. I also have found that it goes along with those Tell Me Who catechism songs that you can just find on Spotify. So I will link all of this below. It's really fun to have songs that you can play in the car to learn those catechism answers. We've got the Jesus Storybook Bible on our Yodo player. I did a make your own Yodo card. If you don't know a lot about Yodo players, I have a whole video and blog post, but I have a whole video all about our Yodo player and why we love it so much. That's a really great way to get in a little extra read alouds. Even though it's not you reading aloud, it's still getting some audiobook time into your homeschool day. But we've got our Bible, a Bible on there. It's just the Jesus Storybook Bible, which isn't as tightly of a maybe paraphrase, but we definitely want to continue reading our children's Bible. I have a favorite children's Bible that I will link down below. That's something that we will be using. Something I'm excited to use is the Abeka, sorry again if I'm mispronouncing it, Abeka Flash a Card Salvation series, and I had heard this recommended. I can't wait to get into it. It comes with these giant, at least that's the ones I found, these giant cards, big picture cards with these gorgeous paintings on them, and it walks your children through why, well, basically the gospel story, why they need salvation. And it comes with a little teacher's book, so I know exactly how to present each of those large pictures. And Sophie has seen it laying around and she's been begging to get into it. This year, in terms of scripture memory, I want to do that even more so, and I have decided to finally jump into the Charlotte Mason scripture memory system. You can look that up online. I've got it linked in the description box down below for you. But basically it involves kind of a loop approach to reviewing past scripture verses you've learned and then learning a new one. So over time you're building up this awesome collection of Bible verses that you have memorized, and I'm really looking forward to doing it with the kids, doing it alongside my kids and getting those scripture verses back in my mind as well. Something else I've included in our family's health subject is the character books by Beautiful Feet Books. And that's another curriculum company that I've been looking into just for kind of this character development subject, and I'm just including that under the umbrella of health. But basically they have these really awesome character books sets that you can buy, but I've kind of gone through and picked through which books we already own. We own a few of their books from these character books sets, and then I've made a list of other books that I want to purchase. I'll buy them used on Better World Books most likely. So I'm including that in there because I love focusing on character development. I did that when I was a 3rd grade teacher too. We had, I think I called it our character word, and every Friday we do a little quiz about how we could show or live out that character word in our life. So things like being patient or honest or polite, generous, thankful, all sorts of things. So I'm looking forward to doing a little more character work with my children because that's a big part of parenting, and what better way I thought to do it than really infuse it into our homeschool time through picture books. I'm a little more casual about art instruction in our homeschool time. I love the Come Look With Me art books. They introduce your kids to more famous art or paintings, and I love those. We have a whole collection of the Come Look With Me books. We've got a Drawing with Children book. It's called Drawing with Children, and that's a really fun step-by-step approach, which we've done some of in the past. We love watercoloring, and so I make sure the kids have a fresh new watercolor set for the start of the school year and some good thick watercolor paper. That's probably what we do the most of when it comes to art. But aside from that, my kids are constantly making crafts and drawing things and coloring and cutting. We definitely go through our share of tape and pencils, and we're always sharpening colored pencils in our family. So I'm a little more casual about art, at least so far, until we start to show some interest in maybe learning a particular skill. Sophie has done some loom weaving, and she's made some pot holders, so there's always handicrafts like that. In terms of science, for us right now that involves a lot of reading, and reading Usborne books, reading picture books on science subjects. There are so many good things out there, and we especially like the Jerry Pallotta alphabet books. They're just fascinating, and he's got books about desert creatures and about ocean creatures, all sorts of things. So we definitely are doing a lot of reading. We did recently, actually this summer, we built rockets that you can buy from Hobby Lobby, and my husband really spearheaded this project. We shot off these amazing hobby-size rockets with the kids. We made snacks, we made it a whole thing and invited some family members to come into town for our rocket launch, and they brought their own rockets. So there are always really fun things you can do to incorporate science into your homeschool time. For us, it mostly involves those random really fun projects, like we also have bought some geodes that we want to crack open after we learn about them, and owl pellets as well. And then also we've got our children's books. Aside from picture books and then those interest-driven projects for science, we love doing the Good and the Beautiful's science curriculum books. Now they have 2 course books out now that are called Science for Little Hearts and Hands, and it's perfect for, I think, age 2nd grade and under. So we're still going through those various lessons, and sometimes they have a short video for you to watch, and sometimes they just have a story to read in this nice science storybook that it comes with. So definitely check out the Good and the Beautiful's Science for Little Hearts and Hands. Another part of our social studies combined subjects that I want to do this year is from the Beautiful Feet books, and I'm just really interested in this curriculum. It's a little more new to me, but it involves these great book sets you can get, or for me, I'm treating it as a book list. So I've combed through their, it's called Around the World Part 1 books. We own some already, and I want to get into some others that I will be buying used. So that I'm including in social studies and history. My husband, as I mentioned, is a former history teacher, and he has read a lot of the Magic Treehouse books with Sophie and Soren over this past, maybe since January even. They have read at least 20 of the books. I know they had read 19 the last time I counted, and I think they've done even more. So that's really fun read aloud time that Bjorn does with the kids, and then they discuss the social studies or history subjects that are presented in those books. You might have grown up with those books too, but the kids love them. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting about homeschool. It's one of my very favorite topics to write about, learn about, and post about. It's a really special thing that we get to do with our kids. I hope that today's video brought you some fresh ideas in terms of what you might want to try in your homeschool this year, or maybe it was just fun for you to kind of, like I like to do, see what other moms are doing in their homeschool curriculum and in their homeschool culture in their family. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel here so you don't miss any new videos that come out. Also make sure you are on my email list, because right now we've got weekly email newsletters going out full of fun things like tried and true recipes and all sorts of motherhood and homemaking tips. I also have an online motherhood and homemaking course called the Present Mama Playbook, which is a passion project of mine. I love it so much, and I love hearing feedback from you guys about how the course has changed your life and how it has really helped you in your own motherhood or homemaking journey. It is currently closed for enrollment right now, but if you want to hear about when the Present Mama Playbook reopens for enrollment, make sure you go down to the description box below and join the wait list. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.